All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Pod Nem. I have a very special episode today. I'm joined by none other than Jeremy, and we are going to go through UFC 296, which is taking place on Saturday in Vegas. Big card, massive card. So, Jeremy is here to help me sort through these matchups. We're going to go over each matchup in the main card, give our thoughts, opinions, how we think the fights will play out, and then we'll pick a winner. But before we get into the main card, I want to go over a couple fights in the prelims, a couple big names, big fights in the prelims. So I want to start first with Cody Garbrandt versus Brian Keller. This is on the prelims. Cody is the favorite to win. He's minus 198. Um, Cody's kind of had an up and down sort of last few years. He's coming off a win in his last fight, but before that, he lost to Kai Kara France. So he's looking to sort of get back on track. And this is at bantamweight now. He he was at flyweight, right? And then he moved back up to bantamweight.
Yeah, he got knocked out by Kai Kara France.
Yeah, at
He,
flyweight, right?
yeah, he jumped back up and
Yeah.
he's been off for 2 years now though, so it'll be interesting to see
Two
how he
years ago
looks.
was his last fight.
Yeah, December
Oh wow.
2021, so
Yeah,
pretty
you're
much two
right.
years.
Yeah.
And I think it's a
Wow, I
good
didn't know
fight
it
to
was
come
that long
back
of a
to
life.
because Brian Kelleher's like 2-3 in his last five. He's fought a lot of good
Yeah.
guys, so we'll
Yeah,
see. I don't know.
yeah. He's kind of like a he's a decent fighter. He's not someone that I think that's why Cody's favorite. I don't think this is someone that should win. Like he's a nice fighter, but given Cody's like layoff and stuff, I feel like this is a guy he should beat.
Yeah, of course.
Is Brian Keller, he's more is he like what's his style? Is he just like stand up striker or
Yeah, very heavy pressure. He's a good wrestler, but with Cody, man, like. Skill for skill. Not a lot of guys can stand in front of him. It's just, we'll see if he'll be able to put it on. You
yeah.
know, I
And
think it's
he
more of a
also can't
mental thing
stand
with
in front
him.
of a lot of guys because of his chin.
Right.
I mean, he can
Yeah, I think
stand
it's
and,
more of a
and throw with
mental thing.
anyone, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he was kind of like going through a lot and obviously the Dillashaw sort of like saga and all that stuff. So yeah, I think it would be really good to see Cody win this fight. I'm picking him to win. I think he's going to win. Um, so yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cody too. I feel like the time off really gonna help him. He had time to recover, jump back up his normal weight class. He probably feels a lot better. So I'll take Cody too in that one for sure.
Yeah, cool. All right. Moving on, another prelim fight I wanted to talk about: Josh Emmett versus Bryce Mitchell. I can't believe this is on the prelims. Do you think this gets bumped up to the main card because the Ian Gary fight got canceled? Ian Gary versus Luque is off.
Right. I
I don't
saw
think they
that.
have a replacement.
Yeah. I don't know. I heard they were talking to like Bilal and Kevin Holland, but I don't know. I think since that there was another fight that got canceled on the prelims too, right? Or was
Was
that
there?
the Josh Emmett fight? He was supposed to fight somebody else first, wasn't he?
Oh, really? I don't know. I don't remember. Huh.
I don't
Yeah,
I don't
maybe you're
know
right.
because I know they only
Oh,
got a
you know
couple
what
fights
got
on the
canceled? Giga
right.
and
That was supposed to be
it
Emmett
was supposed to
versus
be versus
Giga.
Emmett. Oh, so
Yeah,
Mitchell stepped in late.
yeah. I guess they'll
Oh,
probably keep that one on the
on the
prelims,
prelims.
but that's an interesting fight because I mean Josh Emmett is a little older, but the amount of experience he has. He's got
Yeah,
he just fought for an interim title. He's had a lot of five
yeah,
round
not that
fights,
long ago. Yeah,
fought a lot of good
yeah.
guys. I mean, when you look at Bryce, I mean, he's good. He's had a couple, he fought Ilya, who's, about to fight for the title
Mm,
soon. So I don't know. I think he's a lot younger. I think that'll help him in that aspect. But Emmett's short, so I don't think the wrestling is going to be too big of a factor because, Bryce's stand up's not. I mean, he did drop
yeah,
Edson Barbosa last time they did fight, which was,
yeah,
was super impressive. But I don't know. He's gonna really have to mix it up. I think that short, stocky, powerful type of style. It's gonna might give Bryce Mitchell a couple problems. He's gonna have to figure it out. But I'm gonna take Bryce in
yeah.
that fight. I think just even though he's lacking the experience, I think that he'll be able to find a way to do it. I mean, he's good in that aspect.
Yeah. Man, this is a tough one for me because I know we watched Mitchell's last fight, and it was versus Ige, and Ige looked really good in that first round. I thought he was
Hmm.
really like chipping Bryce up. I thought Bryce had a lot of trouble on the feet standing with him. But then eventually Bryce got into his game and with the wrestling and the grappling and all that stuff. So I mean, Emmett's a good striker. Like you said, he's fought a bunch of dudes. He fought for an interim belt recently. He's a tested guy. This is a tough one for me. I'm I'm gonna go with Mitchell too, but I wouldn't be shocked if Emmett wins, like if he gets a knockout, even maybe like a TKO or something.
Right.
But yeah, I think if Bryce can get it to the ground and stuff, then he's got a good shot at winning. So I'm gonna go with Bryce too, but that's gonna be a really interesting fight.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, okay, those are just the two fights I wanted to talk about for the prelims. Really good fights in the prelims. I mean, that those matchups are like they could be on the main card on like a
Yeah,
thinner
definitely.
card.
Oh yeah.
But the main card is stacked. So, all right, let's get into the main card now. First fight on the main card: Tony Ferguson versus Patty the Batty. This is lightweight bout. Patty is a minus 310 favorite. Tony is just coming off a really, really tough stretch. I mean, he's lost what, six fights in a row now?
Yeah, 6 fights.
Five, six, six?
Yeah, six.
I mean, it's, I love Tony and he's a legend and stuff, but it's just kind of hard watching him go out there and he's just like a punching bag at this point. You know what I mean? It's really hard just watching him go out there and get knocked out and submitted and all that stuff just over and over again. I feel like this is almost more of like not a tune up, but just an easier fight for Patty, because I feel like they've kind of babied Patty so much with uh his opponents in terms of like their skill level. And Tony's obviously a really popular fighter, really a well-known name, even though he's not that kind of fighter anymore. The fight still has the juice because it's Tony Ferguson, but to me, like I don't see any possible way Tony wins this fight.
Really.
I don't. No. What do you think?
I mean,
I mean,
Tony.
what has he shown you lately that makes you think otherwise?
No, you're right. I don't think necessarily Tony has shown me anything that will make me super confident in him, but Patty, his last fight he fought Jared Gordon, which is, not really a threatening fighter anywhere in a sense. And
Yeah.
a lot of people think he lost that fight, he should have lost
Yeah.
to Jared Gordon. So, I mean, when you look at the wrestling from Patty, he's not the best. Tony has been at the top of the food chain forever. I think he'll be able to win a lot of those positions against, not the strongest wrestler in a sense of Patty Pimblett,
Yeah.
but and especially on the feet, he's wild. He's a wild striker, Patty Pimblett.
Yeah.
So just the training with David Goggins, and now I'm hearing that he's actually going to be in his corner for that fight.
Oh,
That's
is he?
what's most concerning.
Yeah.
Because he did that whole Hell Week thing with him, and Goggins
Hmm.
said not a lot of guys can do that, but overtraining's a real thing. So and
Yeah.
cardio has never been something Tony Ferguson was lacking in. His cardio has always
No.
been
Yeah.
one of the best. So I'm not sure why he decided to take this route for this fight camp. But yeah, like I said, Patty's not really threatening in many areas. I mean, he does throw some wild punches. He's got some deep, decent hip tosses and everything. But I feel like it's going to be something Tony's definitely seen before. You know what I'm saying? But guys who are at a much higher level, like think about like the
Oh, yeah.
Charles Oliveira's and the list goes on with the people Tony have fought. So I
Yeah.
mean, I do root for Tony. I do want him to win, but I'll probably still go with Patty. Just you know, he's younger, he's
Yeah.
fresher, and the whole Goggins thing is it's what can you make of it, really?
Yeah. I I agree with a lot of that. I don't. I think I think Patty will probably want to keep this on the feet, right? I mean, Tony has great submission skills and grappling,
It
right?
is a black
So
belt in jiu-jitsu under
yeah,
Eddie
I mean
Bravo. So
Patty's a pretty good grappler too.
yeah,
But
I
like you
mean, when
said,
you
it'll
look at the
be
type of guys he's fought, though, it's you know what I'm saying,
that's what I'm saying. It'll be nothing that Tony hasn't seen before.
right?
So I would definitely give the edge to Tony there. That's why I'm saying if Patty wants to win this fight, I think he's got to keep it on the feet, right?
Yeah, he's got to start a firefight. Dude, if
Yeah,
Tony, this is a 3 round fight, so if Tony doesn't come out guns blazing like all
yeah,
15 minutes, like the work with Goggins, like what was the point? You know what I'm saying? If he's gonna try
yeah.
and fight like a slow type of, it's only 15, it's only a 3 round fight, so he's got to go
Hmm.
out there and give everything he's got
Yeah,
from
exactly.
start to finish.
You
You know
don't
what I'm
train
saying? He
like
can't.
that with that. Yeah, you don't
Right.
train like that if you're gonna, wait until the third round to make your move. It's
Exactly.
not a 5 round fight. Yeah, yeah, you're right. His best sort of like chance is to just come out guns blazing and blitz Patty and just kind of not empty the tank all the way in the first round, but like definitely apply some pressure. Like you got to win that early round, right? And then maybe you lose the second round and it all comes down to the third round, right? And you get a decision to go your way. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm gonna pick Patty though. You're picking Patty too though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're both going with Patty on that one. Next fight, um, Rachmanov versus Wonder Boy. Your boy Wonder Boy. Rachmanov is a minus 650 favorite. Thompson's a big underdog in this one. I love Wonder Boy. He's great. Like I love his kickboxing and stuff. But man, Rachmanov, I mean, that's a tall task for Wonder Boy at his age and at this stage in his career. I mean, Rachmanov is just a beast, and he's young and he's hungry, and I think this is going to be a really tough fight for Wonder Boy. I'm not saying he can't win it, but man, they're really throwing him in the fire with this one. What do you think?
I mean, when you look at it from like a stylistic standpoint, nobody in the UFC, I'm 100% confident in, like, can stand in front of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you think you can
Yeah,
stand in front of that guy, like, you're in for a rude awakening. So, if Shavkat comes in with an ego, he's gonna
yeah,
get put to sleep. I mean, the only way he wins is if he wrestles. But I mean, Wonder Boy was supposed to fight not too long ago. Remember that fight got canceled? He didn't. He never fought. So I
yeah.
know
Who was
he's
he supposed
ready.
to fight?
Michelle Pajeda.
Hmm.
So I think
Okay.
if Wonder Boy just can't get taken down, that's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
that's what I'm
If
saying.
they if they if they're standing the whole time, I know Wonder Boy's got a lot of good angles. He's very good at cage escapes. His footwork is phenomenal. He's very good at setting traps, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that, I mean, he's put out some of those young and up and coming guys before. Like when Vicente Luque was coming up, and
Yeah,
he
Holland.
beat he beat Kevin Holland coming down to welterweight, and you
Yeah,
saw the size difference. I mean, Wonder Boy looked fast as hell. Even Holland said it
yeah.
himself. He's like, he's a lot faster than I expected him, especially at the older age.
Mm-hmm.
He is now like 40. But
Yeah,
I'll never bet against Wonder Boy, man. I mean, he'll find a way to make it happen. So I'm gonna
yeah.
definitely go with him.
All right. Yeah. I mean, Wonder Boy is like he's almost like the gatekeeper. I feel like of the welterweight division, right? It's like if you can beat him, then you're ready for that kind of next step. Like you're a top five fighter in the division. Like I feel like that's kind of almost his role now because I feel like at this point in his career, he's not. I mean, he's not really competing for titles. I mean, I guess he could make a run, but I don't know. At this point, I kind of feel like he's just sort of the gatekeeper of the division. And once you beat him, like you're put on notice, And this is exactly what that is for Rachmanov, right? Like if he wins this fight, like he catapults himself into title contention. I mean, he's already ranked fifth, so I guess I'm guessing he would get the.
Who's
I
ranked
mean, I
fifth?
think Rachmanov is ranked fifth. Like I think Bilal gets the next shot at welterweight. He'll probably get the winner of Colby and Leon, right? And then maybe Rachmanov gets the winner of that of the next one if he wins. If he wins, I just think his trajectory is there, and I'm gonna go with Rachmanov. I just think he's just too young, and he's very well rounded. I think it's going to be a lot for Stephen Thompson at this point in his career, but we'll see. We'll see. Um, all right. So moving on. This is the co-main event now. This is for the flyweight title. Uh, God, I can't even pronounce these guys' names. Is it Pantoja? Is
Yeah,
that his name?
Pantoja.
Pantoja and Royval, Brandon Royval.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you kind of take charge on this one because I know Pantoja beat um, Moreno, right? Brandon Moreno for the belt. Yeah. So, but I don't really know much about Brandon Royval though. What do you think about this?
Um, I mean, when you look at that flyweight division, there's not too many guys that, are in the title contention right now, so I can see why they would put somebody like a Brandon Royval in there. Like,
Yeah.
this soon for the first, because when you look at Pantoja, I mean, he's fought Figgy and Moreno and
Hmm.
Alex Perez, so there's not too many guys in there. I mean, he's already fought like all of them already, so I can see why they give him somebody new in Brandon Royval. I mean, he's good. He's very tricky. He's tall and skinny for that weight class. He's
Hmm.
from Factory X MMA, who Chris Gutierrez is on that team who just fought this weekend.
Hmm.
That one didn't go their way, but they got a very good camp out there, and he's kind of one of those wild guys in a sense that Royval that sometimes it works in his favor and sometimes it doesn't. He's got a lot of quick fights, quick finishes and getting finished quick, and he's already
Hmm.
lost to Pantoja a couple years ago. He got
Oh yeah.
submitted like pretty early, yeah, like second, third round. Royval got submitted by Pantoja. So
Mm.
I mean, he's already lost a couple times since that fight, Royval. So I don't think he really did enough in that amount of time to put it together and beat Pantoja again. I mean, I think he'll probably get
Yeah.
stopped like the third round. Um, yeah, man, Pantoja's good. I mean, he's only
Yeah.
lost really to like Figgy, and I think
Hmm.
that's it. So I think he's definitely up next. I think he'll hold that belt for a pretty long time, actually.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Pantoja too, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like I feel like if they had the choice, the UFC would probably want to like do away with the flyweight division. I mean, it's
At this
so
point, yeah,
yeah, it's so especially with Figgy not even there anymore. I mean, like the whole reason they did Moreno and Figgy, what was that, three times, four times,
four times.
four times, right? Is because just like there's no one else in that division. I'm not saying there's not good fighters, but like there's not the names and
Right.
it's like I feel like they really kind of want to do away with this. I mean, you this is the kind of fight that this is the kind of fight that either like you have to have a stacked card around it, right? Like this can't be a pay-per-view headliner or it would be like a fight night almost, you know? I like
Yeah,
this could be like a fight night headliner, but
yeah, definitely.
just as like a standalone fight, it just doesn't have that sort of like clout. So I feel like they really wanted to kind of stack the card around it. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Pantoja too, but just because I don't even know really much of Royval. But so yeah. All right. So moving on to the headliner, the main event, Leon versus Colby Chaos. Colby is a slight underdog at plus 136. Leon is minus 162, the favorite. This is going to be fireworks. I'm so excited for this one. Colby, talk about like layoffs and time off. Colby hasn't fought in over a year. His last fight was versus Masvidal, who he beat by decision. That was March of 2022. So he's been, out of commission for like 18 months now, essentially over a year and a half. Um, but I think he was just kind of waiting for this fight. I mean, he wasn't gonna take a fight that wasn't a title fight. But Leon is going to be defending his belt for the second time. He beat Usman for the belt originally, and then he defended the title against him. And now he is going up against Colby for his second title defense. Man, I have a lot to say, but I'll let you go first. What do you think?
I think Colby's gonna be small in there. I think
Small?
Leon's a lot bigger. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
just as far as size, I think he'll be a lot smaller. Um, Colby lost to Usman twice. I mean, he got
Yeah.
dropped a couple times. I think he got TKO'd one of those, and then he lost the decision. And Leon did the same thing to Usman. He knocked him out and he beat him in decision. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think that the game plan for Colby would have to be like, just pressure, man. You just got to pressure him. Just keep wrestling. Don't, you know,
Hmm.
kind of steer away from that because he knows he doesn't really have the striking to stand with a guy
No.
like Leon. So,
His striking's actually not too bad. Like I feel like it's pretty respectable now, but he's not the kind of striker that Leon is, obviously. But I think Colby's striking has definitely improved. But it's definitely not going to be his game plan to kind of just sit there and trade with Leon. No way.
right. So, I mean, if he could, kind of push him up against the cage and just kind of did what he did to Masvidal, just a lot of pressure, a
Yeah.
lot of, but you got to be careful with Leon. I mean, you've seen he's got power in he's had a knockout in 8 seconds and he's had a knockout in the
Yeah.
last minute of the fifth round. So
Yeah. You
Colby's
can't
gonna have to
ever
be
like
sharp.
rule him
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. He's gonna have to be very sharp, very, strategic, not steer away from that game plan, even if he's getting, pieced up or he's having trouble taking
Hmm.
him down. Because it's interesting. Colby, on paper is the better wrestler, but he couldn't take
Yeah.
Usman down, and
No. Yeah.
Leon took Usman down. So
That was, I think, that was Usman's first
time getting
like
taken down.
takedown. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He's never gotten taken down before, and Leon,
and
of
he
all
was like
people, took him
right
down.
in full mount too, like taken
Hmm.
down into full, like which you don't see too often.
Yeah,
So it's gonna be a tough.
yeah.
I mean, the odds. I know that when the fight first, was being talked about, that Colby was the favorite. So I'm kind of surprised that you
Hmm.
just said that, and now he's the underdog because I do remember him
Yeah.
being the favorite at one point. So, dude, it's gonna be
I
a
think
sweet
people are
fight, man.
afraid of his. Yeah, I can't wait. I think people are kind of nervous about his time off. I mean, Colby's never really been that active. I feel like he's always taking time off. It's weird.
Right.
Like he'll never fight like twice in like 6 months. He's always taking like these year-long breaks. But yeah, I can't wait for this fight. I think, like you said, I think Colby has to go into this fight with the Masvidal game plan and just kind of ragdoll Leon, get him to the ground, wrestle him, and just kind of ground and pound and just get that control time. Like really just kind of make, Leon uncomfortable in that situation. Because, like I said, Colby's striking has improved and I think it's respectable, but Leon definitely has the advantage on the feet. Um, Colby has a good chin. You know what I mean? He's not going to go in there, and I know you said you have to be careful. He can knock out Leon can knock out anyone, right? Like in 10 seconds or at the end of the fight. Like, but Colby, I know he got knocked out by Usman, but they were trading in those fights, and I thought Colby landed some good shots too, and he took a lot of Usman's big shots, and he stood up. I think he has a really good chin, and like you said, the Colby's cardio is what probably one of the best in the entire UFC, right? I
Definitely.
mean, he just has like a limitless gas tank. So I think that he has to apply that pressure early on Leon, shoot those takedowns. And we'll see how is Leon's takedown defense?
It's pretty good. I mean, I
It's
don't
pretty
think
good
Usman
because
definitely
Usman
didn't
wasn't really,
control him
yeah.
down there.
Well,
Yeah.
in the first fight, I felt like Usman was getting takedowns and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
Leon lost that fight for like,
Right.
24 minutes. You
Uh-huh.
know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of
Uh,
people will say because it was the elevation, he just wasn't the same, which I
mhm,
could see, because that
yeah,
second fight, I mean, he came out and whether it was a mental thing from Usman or, the elevation was legit, but, he smoked him in that second fight.
yeah, he
So,
did. Yeah, he did. He definitely did.
and it's interesting because Usman outstruck Colby, both times they fought. So,
Yeah, I
I mean,
know.
and you saw Usman get outstruck by Leon, so the gap is gonna be big.
Yeah,
I think Colby can definitely stand with him, but he doesn't have the power to, put somebody like
no,
Leon
yeah,
down.
no way, no,
So it's
no
gonna
way.
have to be just straightforward the entire time. You cannot back
Yeah,
up. He cannot
I
back
thought.
up.
Yeah, I know. Masvidal ended up retiring after that fight, and obviously he's not what he once was. But Colby was. I thought Colby definitely got the better of him on the feet in that fight, and Masvidal's a striker.
Right.
Like Colby definitely held his own in the stand up. I thought he was landing like some big shots, and I definitely thought he got, the better of Masvidal in the stand up or about the same. You know, it was definitely pretty equal. I thought. So yeah, I'm curious to see kind of what Colby does. Like if he thinks he can kind of stand in there with Leon and trade, and kind of maybe resort to the wrestling as not a last resort, but you know what I mean, just kind of in the back pocket. But I don't think that would bode well for Colby because I don't think that's his game.
Right.
Um, but
Especially
yeah,
over the
it's
course of 25, that's
yeah,
risky.
yeah, it's tricky because I obviously Leon is was resilient in the fact that he knocked out Usman when he lost that entire fight in their first fight for the belt. But I don't know. There were times in that Usman fight, the first championship fight, that I thought Leon just kind of looked like he quit almost. Like remember all those clips of his corner yelling at him, like, "Come on, Leon! Like, what was all this for?" Right? Like, I feel like if Colby kind of applies that pressure and maybe he's ragdolling him, throwing him around, like throwing him up against the cage, ground and pound, that Leon can kind of like get into that sort of like mental funk, where he just kind of looks like he gives up almost.
Yeah.
Um, so if the fight isn't going Leon's way early on, I'd be curious to see sort of where his headspace is at. Because that was crazy. I mean, he really looked like he gave up in a title fight. Like it really took his coach to just kind of like get in his ear, to kind of like wake him up because he was sleeping for 24 minutes
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
first fight versus Usman. So and I
Definitely.
like Colby doesn't operate that way, Colby's just like an engine. Like he's gonna go until you knock him out, or like, he's not gonna quit. Um, so yeah, I feel like Colby kind of has the almost like mental edge, kind of like the psychological edge. Um, is the press conference today, right?
I
The
don't
press
know.
conference, or were they yesterday?
I think it might have been yesterday.
Yeah, I'm
I don't
curious. I
know.
mean, Colby gives great press conferences. I'm
I'm sure
curious
we
to
would have
see
seen
like,
something about it already if
yeah,
it
like
was, though, so
that's
I'm
what I'm
not
saying. I
sure.
want to see the shots that Colby was throwing at him and stuff. But yeah, so I can't wait for this fight. It's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Colby by decision. Um, yeah, that's gonna be my pick. Colby by decision. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the underdog, too. I got Colby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like you just made the case for Leon that whole time. You're gonna go Colby.
I just, I feel like it'll be one of those, MMA math. It doesn't always make sense.
Yeah,
It'll be one of
yeah.
those scenarios. But, I've
Hmm.
seen a bunch of posts about like how crazy it is that, Sean O'Malley, Sean Strickland, and Colby Covington, if they all became champs by the end of the year, that's the craziest time to be a UFC fan. You know what I'm saying? All
Yeah,
three of
I
those
know.
guys as your champs. Like,
Hmm.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
So I'd
it
like to
could
see
very
that
well
happen.
happen. Yeah, yeah, it could. It could. All right. Yeah, that wraps up the main card. I mean, is there anything else you wanted to touch on that maybe we missed or something?
No, I don't think so. I think we got everything.
Yeah, I think we did a good job. All right, well, that wraps up this episode. Thank you all for listening. And yeah, I'll see you all next time.